OpenAI's SearchGPT is here right now for paid users, and in a matter of months it's going to be available for free users. It comes at a time when Google is getting slammed by small publishers and even some massive tech influencers. It's not often that tech comes along with the potential to disrupt $1 billion industry like search, so there's some key questions that we're going to address in this video. Could SearchGPT be the beginning of the end for Google? Can it take on Perplexity, and what does it mean for you as an end user or as a small publisher? We're going to cover all of that and more, so let's go. Okay, so we're going to go in and take a look at ChatGPT Search, but first of all, let's just take a quick look at the announcement. So it launched on October 31st, which was 2 days ago, and it's just available right now for Plus and Team users. So if you don't have a paid for ChatGPT account, then you're not going to see the options that I'm going to show you today. But if you do, then you can dive in right now. It's on mobile and on desktop, and you can go in and use it. The next rollout is going to be to education, and then they're currently saying within 3 months, but they're saying within a few months, so I'll take that as 3. So within a few months, everyone will get access, so free users as well as paid users. So you could very much say that it's still in beta mode right now, and I'm sure that as the days and weeks go on, this is only going to become a stronger experience. So when you go into ChatGPT, you'll see that to use the search facility, the web search facility, you need to be using GPT 4.0. Any of these other versions, it's not going to work. And you're going to know if you've activated it because you got this little search, this little globe icon here, and you press that, and then it highlights that you are now in search mode. So we're going to do a few different searches. We're going to do a transactional search, a local search, an info search, and a review-based search. So we'll start off with a transactional search, and we're going to go with buy acoustic panels, and I've tried this with a few different types of products. Now, it doesn't always give us this list like this. In fact, one thing that I've noticed with GPT Search is that it's giving us results in different formats, and it's also giving different results each time that I run that search. So if I were to run that search again, we might find that we get that displayed slightly differently. But if we just take a look at what we get a kind of a description of what acoustic panels are, and then we get some places where we can go in and make that purchase. Now, at the moment, we've only got 4 different places here. I ran this search a few minutes ago, and I think I got a list of 9 or 10, which was very much like a standard set of search results. Now, these are the sources of information. So when you click into sources, it gives you this sidebar here, but this doesn't show as standard. We actually need to click into sources to bring that up. And as you can see, these sources that are listed are very discreet. The background of the button is almost the exact same background color as ChatGPT's interface. So it's not particularly obvious that it is a kind of clickable link until you hover over it. So how much click-through you're going to get, I think, is going to depend on the type of search that is happening. Obviously, with something transactional where you're expecting to go to another site to make a purchase, you are going to be looking for that. Whereas if it's more informational in nature, then I think you're a lot less likely to get those clicks. So we'll just run that search again and see. So buy acoustic panels, let's try and spell it correctly, and see if we get the same layout. Okay, interesting. Again, this is a third different layout that I've seen for the exact same search query. Now let me just check, did I actually activate search there? I'm not sure if I did. So let's do that again. And it's that's one thing. It is very easy to forget to click that, and it tends to search the web anyway. But again, we've kind of gone back to another kind of listing here where we're getting less description. It's picking up on my location as well, so it's kind of trying to give me local results, which I don't necessarily need here. And I'm just going to run that one last time, make sure we're on there, Buy acoustic panels. Okay, and now we're starting to get that other format again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different results there, all of which we can click through. They're all e-commerce sites, and we can click through and make that purchase. So if we compare that to Perplexity, for example, and see what this brings up, the speed, I would say, is a little bit slower on Perplexity, so we're not getting the result quite as fast, but you can see we've got very clear sources here. They're much more clickable in my opinion, but actually the result here, I'm not a massive fan of how that is laid out. Obviously it does kind of give us different types of panels, and then we can click these, but these are even less clickable in my opinion, these sources here. And the fact that I've got the word buy in there, to me, that is very clear on what the kind of intent is. I'm looking to make a purchase. I'm looking for places to buy from. I don't think that's the best result personally. And if we do that within Google, I actually prefer Google setup here. We get a map result, and then we get obviously the kind of standard results here, and you'll see that a lot of these companies are actually the same. Nature Wall, Sonio, I think GIK was in there, acoustic panels, and so on. Now, one thing I have noticed on some search results for these types of queries, these types of transactional queries or e-commerce type queries, is that ChatGPT Search will also give us a map. And then you can kind of scroll through, and we'll probably see that next in local search. But I have also seen it on some of these searches too. Let's just take a quick look at Bing as well and see what we get on there. And again, that is very much just the list. We get a few YouTube videos as well. I'm not sure why you would see those. Obviously, we've got the sponsored section, and no map on Bing, which is interesting. So I wonder if there was a map on there, then we might see that then pulled through into ChatGPT. But let's take a look at our next one. So let's go into local search, and I'm just going to go for best restaurants near me, because I've just finished my 75 hard challenge, so I'm looking for somewhere to go tonight. So best restaurants near me. I'm not saying where I am. Obviously, you need to have the relevant permissions on there so that ChatGPT, OpenAI knows your location. So you can see here, we actually do get the map result this time. You can toggle it to list as well, which is actually quite nice. I quite like that. So we still see that, and then this is quite a nice interface where it'll show us where they are. Now, I think this works better on mobile personally, because you can just kind of scroll across here. It's quite intuitive, and you get all the information you need. So you've got obviously a short description of the place. There's also a link to somewhere where it's actually saying that this is a good restaurant. And you've got directions, which if you're on mobile, for me, that when I click directions, it took me straight through to Google Maps, and then obviously a link to their website, and you can call as well. In terms of my local knowledge of places, these are all local to me. There are definitely more, so I would like to see more, and you know, that's something that I think is probably lacking there a little bit. But let's run that search in Google. And really what Google does, particularly with the maps, is it just goes for location. It's just gone for the nearest possible places. And then you get, to be honest, these are not really ever going to be that helpful for me to look through. Maybe TripAdvisor, but the rest I'm not going to necessarily look at. I'm probably going to dive into the maps. And if we look in Perplexity, again, a little bit slow. And yeah, some okay results. Again, we get the map, but not a huge amount there really. So I think Google probably wins that one, and so it should. We'll do an info-based search next. I just wanted to interrupt the video for a second there just to let you know that we've just reopened Affiliate School Unfiltered. So Affiliate School Unfiltered is a program that we run. It's a 12-month program where we start a new project, we support one another, there's a load of resources within the platform itself, but the most important part of it is the community aspect, and we get on monthly calls. Sometimes it's weekly calls to begin with, but generally monthly calls. We've got a community group, we've got video resources, and it's a great supportive place to be, to work on a project, overcome issues. We share as much as we possibly can. A lot of people share everything, including myself. I'll be sharing my entire new project, and you also get access to all of the video recordings, everything from the 2024 cohort. It's open now. There's a special price right now where you can get a load of bonuses worth about £770, and you get £100 off as an early bird price. That is valid until the 11th of November. So there's a link down in the description below. Do go and check it out if you're interested in making money with an online project with the support of a fantastic group of people. I'm heading to Chiang Mai in a week, so I want to see what the weather's like. So let's take a look at what we get here. Okay, and again, I've been getting different kind of sets of results for this. Here we're getting a result that is very clear, but it's not very graphical. I've seen other results given to me where it's a very graphical interface. Let's have a look on Perplexity. So we get a graphical interface here, although it gives me very different weather conditions to what it is actually saying on ChatGPT. And then if we just run that again on Google, and again, we get different weather conditions to what Perplexity is telling us, but a nice graphical interface. So I'm just going to run that one more time on ChatGPT and see whether we get that more graphical interface. And now we do. So that's interesting. Again, I feel like they're testing a lot at the moment. What's also interesting here for me is that they're pulling different sources for the weather. It's not just necessarily coming from one place. Now, earlier when I ran this search, it was coming from AccuWeather. Now it looks like it's coming mainly from Condé Nast Traveller, and then from some other places like Thailand Weather, Meteo, and AccuWeather as well. So, but I kind of like that graphical interface that they give us. So I think, for me, to be honest, in this format here, ChatGPT Search probably wins. It was pretty quick as a result as well. I might want to go one further and find out what the average temperatures are. And I get a nice little graph there, nice little table, just giving me all of that information. I quite like that. If I run that into Google, we get similar. But again, actually, I prefer the way that we had it in ChatGPT Search because it gives me the whole set of information in one go. For this, I do need to take another click and just kind of click through, but the formatting is pretty much the same. And then obviously we've got results on top of that. For Perplexity, a touch slower again, and I'm not a massive fan of the way that is kind of laid out. It's too much to read through. I'm not a huge fan of that. So again, I think ChatGPT wins that one. I would possibly say, if I look at it on Bing, I imagine I'll get a lot more graphics. So yeah, we've kind of got a best time to visit. We've got this. I'd say that's between Bing and ChatGPT Search. Now, considering ChatGPT Search has only just launched, for them to be winning any of these is a bit ridiculous, really, I've got to say. So finally, let's look at some of my favorite types of searches to look at. Let's look at some review type searches. So one of my favorites for affiliate, best AI girlfriend apps. This is a lucrative term that lots of affiliates target, and that's why I've chosen it. So what we get here is, and again, I've run this search many times and I've seen many different results, but they do tend to be laid out in this way. I kind of like this layout here. So it's identified the fact that we're looking for apps, and it's given us, different examples there, each pulled from different places. Now, Tech Dictionary actually comes up twice, and then we've got Illy, AI Tools 1, Replica Pro. Now, I ran this search earlier, and Illy came up with all 5. So Illy had full coverage for that particular search. Obviously, we can click through, but again, it might not be the most... you might not be great in terms of click-through rate and so on. Someone could easily just go in and search for Candy AI and go through there. If we run that search one more time and see if we get a different set of results, and you can see here we get Perfect Corp, Wikipedia, Unite AI, Perfect Corp again, and Perfect Corp again. So, wow, such a different set of results from the exact same search. And again, this could be because it's testing. It could be because the way in which it pulls the data, it is going to be different. So that in and of itself, from a publisher's point of view, is probably going to be troublesome to kind of figure out how to be positioned here when the results change so much. Now, interestingly, if we search this on Google, we get a very different type of result. So we get Medium, we get Reddit, we do get some of the same sites. We do get the Unite AI, we do get Quora, which again is another forum. So we've got 2 forums. We've got what essentially is Parasite SEO using Medium. And then we've got a few other sites that are kind of more like your standard affiliate sites that are promoting it. And then we do get this Illy website again. And like I said, that was very prominent earlier for me in SearchGPT. Again, the biggest issue for me as a publisher is, am I actually going to get these clicks? And then finally, we're going to do a review search. So we're going to search for a supplement called Trim Tone. We're going to search for reviews of that. And again, this is really interesting for me because we've got Total Shape here, which has got all 5 of the top citations there. And then you've got Set for Set and Set for Set. So essentially what GPT is doing here is it's putting together its own review, pulling information from various sources. But for this specific result, it's actually pulled all from Total Shape. Now, okay, you might say, okay, well, we've got 5 links there they can click through and read, and maybe they will. But essentially, it's taking their information and kind of displaying it as not as their own, but it is displaying it. And is there enough incentive for someone to click through? Because we've got a conclusion here as well that it's kind of created. Now, I'm going to run that one more time because, like I said, we are seeing different results, and I saw a very different result before. And again, a very different set of results. I ran it earlier and one of my age domains came up within there. So now we're seeing Health Report, Consumer Health Digest. Let's take a look at Google, what comes up for Trim Tone Review. Again, we've got Amazon, ServiceNow. This is like spam, I think. X Marshall, which is a kind of affiliate site, BioBean affiliate site, Sustainable Food Trade, Age Domain, RevGear, sponsored post or partnership or something like that. Reddit, of course, Quora. So again, a different set of results. And then Perplexity. Is Perplexity going to save us if we're promoting these products on our sites? We're still getting some age domains and a range of different things. Again, I'm not a massive fan of how Perplexity are laying out a lot of this stuff. I do quite like the way that GPT Search is laying out the information. I would like to see a little bit more graphical, and I'm sure that will potentially come. I'd like to see maybe a sidebar here, something more that I don't have to click into sources. I feel that they can definitely utilize a lot of this space. Now, whether they're focusing more on the mobile experience right now, I don't know. But of course, they're going to monetize this at some point as well if it takes off. So, but I just think at this point, it's interesting to play around with it, see what comes up, what results we're getting. I think the most interesting thing for me right now is that it gives different results for the same searches if you search them one after the other and at different times. So it is going to be very, very difficult to identify exactly how to get into those search results, but I'm sure with time things will settle and we'll be able to kind of figure it out. Now, here's the thing. In the long term, what's going to determine whether SearchGPT can indeed take on the might of Google is consumer behavior. Now, you might say to me that Bing or Perplexity is better, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. What matters is whether users use it. There are plenty of examples like this through history. If we think about Betamax versus VHS, Betamax was a better product, but VHS won out. Another example is minidisc versus compact disc. Minidisc was way better, but the vast majority of users used CDs, and so CDs won. And so it really is all about adoption. Now, as a day one product, SearchGPT is very good. It doesn't have that technical baggage that Google has from decades of running as a search engine, and so potentially it can offer a better set of results. But the key here is getting it in the hands of everyday users. So if OpenAI can strike deals with, let's say, mobile phone manufacturers to have one click and instant access to their product, well, that could be a real game changer because that's going to drive up adoption rates. Now, if that does happen, then I feel that Google could potentially be in a little bit of trouble. Now, what does it mean for you as a publisher? It seems SearchGPT is much more likely to surface your content than just going for blanket high authority sites that are easily manipulated, such as Medium, LinkedIn and Reddit, as we see on Google. I think it's fair to say that Google have lost their way a little bit with AI and adopting it in their search engine. And really what they probably should have done was hunkered down on the fact that they got this really decent quality search experience, which seems to have been lost. When you've got people like Mr. Who's the Boss with massive followings talking about this on YouTube, and this is not just happening there, it's happening in tech publications too. The everyday user is starting to notice a degradation. Now, will that be enough to displace them? After all, we use the term Google it when we're talking about searching for something. I think it could be. I think, if I wouldn't be too comfortable if I was holding shares in Alphabet right now. So I've spent a fair bit of time playing around with GPT Search today, and I'm still no closer really to, in my own head, thinking whether this is going to be a good thing for publishers or a bad thing. I think, to be honest, having looked at a lot of those searches, either way, it's going to take a lot of clicks away from publishers, whether people move over to GPT Search or whether people stick with Google and Bing and more traditional search engines. Either way, it does look like AI is going to, particularly for some searches, it's going to potentially take away a lot of traffic. I think where there's real opportunity here is with branded search, with local search, and with e-commerce type searches. I think they're going to do quite well. I think you'll still get those click-throughs, but anything at all that's even vaguely informational in nature, including reviews, including buyer's guides, is not still going to be great news for publishers. At the very least, hopefully this is a shot in the arm for Google to focus more on their top line of search results rather than their bottom line of profit. If they don't, then could it be game over for the tech giant Google in the next few years? Only time will tell. We will see. Guys, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.